Coming up on the Chase, the Hoosiers hosted Purdue in a big rivalry matchup. We've got the recap. Let's get going. Hello, I'm Auston Matricardi. It's been a busy week in IU athletics. Let's cut to the chase and look at this week's headlines. Indiana men's basketball suffered another loss this week, this time at the hands of rival Purdue. The Boilermakers may have gotten the win in the books, but this Hoosier team seemingly beat itself. To say IU had a poor shooting night would be an understatement. If you don't believe me, here are the numbers. Juwan Morgan, 3 for 14. Al Durham, 1 for 8. Devontae Green, 1 for 7. The list goes on. The team as a whole made 15 of the 55 shots they took. That's 27%. Losing to Purdue at home is never a good thing, and to shoot as bad as the Hoosiers did, even worse. But the most heartbreaking aspect of this game for Hoosier fans was the way it ended. The Hoosiers have now lost 11 of their last 12 games, but will look to bounce back on Friday as they travel to Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes. The IU softball team had another undefeated weekend, this time in Durham, North Carolina, defeating Duke and Syracuse 2 times each. The Hoosiers outscored both teams by a combined score of 17-7. After putting Indiana's name on the map, head coach Shonda Stanton spoke about the team's postseason outlook.
You know, when you're playing for an at-large bid at the end, and now that's something we can talk about here at Indiana. You know, whereas before it was you had to win the Big Ten tournament. You had to get there and you had to win it. We can talk about what is our RPI going to be, where are we, can't have bad losses, and so we're going to do all we can.
Also on the diamond, the IU baseball team made their debut over the weekend. The Hoosiers traveled to Memphis and took a series win over the Tigers to open their 2019 campaign on the back of strong performances by stars like Matt Gorski and Paulie Milto. A host of other players took the field for IU in the series, which was to be expected as depth is a big strength of this Hoosier squad. Earlier this week, Coach Jeff Mercer commented on that depth.
I don't know if we had a lot of production, but we had a lot of different faces, and so hopefully we see more production. But we did get a chance to see some different guys, and I expect us to see more guys again this next weekend. There's more guys I'd like to move in there, and as that lineup kind of shifts its way through. And we've talked the whole year with the boys about we're going to play the matchups and we're going to try to play to our strengths. You know, we have talented players, we have intelligent players, we also have depth, and so we need to be able to utilize all of our strengths to make sure we're maximizing our individual ability and therefore our team's ability as well.
On Thursday night, the IU women's basketball team played host to a ranked Iowa Hawkeyes team.
On Monday, not many picking the Hoosiers to upset a top 10 Iowa Hawkeyes team. However, with Allie Patberg returning for the Hoosiers and a rocking Assembly Hall, Terry Morin's team had different plans. In came the 10th-ranked Hawkeyes with arguably the best player in the Big Ten and arguably the best player in the nation, Megan Gustafson, and on the other side, Allie Patberg making her first start since suffering a shoulder injury against Minnesota. The game started off fast with the Hawkeyes shooting well. In her return, Allie Patberg would close the half with a 3 in the final seconds to make it a 9-point ball game, but still, this game had the feeling of Hawkeyes domination. In the third, more Hawkeyes buckets. This would lead to a 16-point lead, leaving fans worried that the Hoosiers would be looking at their 5th loss in a row. But then came the dynamic duo of Allie Patberg and Brenna Wise as they connected for 17 points in the third quarter, bringing the Hoosiers back and cutting the Hawkeyes' deficit to just 3. Into the final quarter we go, going back and forth between leads, and the Hoosiers beginning to sense the upset until defensive stops and big buckets by Wise, Marchese, Patberg, and Penn would eventually lead to a tie ball game. And then, with just a few seconds left in the clock, Bendu Yaney, the bucket, the win with 3 seconds remaining, and Hawkeyes would miss their final shot as the Hoosiers would go on to upset the number 10 team in the nation by a final score of 75-73. Head coach Terry Morin explains her thoughts on collecting her 100th win at Indiana.
I've never been able to take full credit for any of this, but happy with the way we got it tonight. You know, anytime you can beat the number 10 team in the country and you get your 100th win, it's got to be a good night.
Well, only 2 games left in the Big Ten regular season. This week they'll head up to Chicago to face off against the Northwestern Wildcats, a game they lost at home earlier this year, before coming back here to Assembly Hall to face off against Purdue and a rivalry game on Senior Day.
There you have it. Another week in Hoosier News down. If you want to keep chasing the latest in IU athletics, make sure to follow us on Twitter at IUSTV Sports and like the IUSTV Sports Facebook page. Until next time, I'm Auston Matricardi.